samatoshayat visrajya kamam dambham cha dvesham lobhamagam madam apramattodyata nityam tejiyam samatoshayat visrajya kamam dambham cha dvesham lobhamagam madam apramattodyata nityam tejiyam samatoshayat. Visrajya, giving up, kamam, lust, dambham, pride, cha, and dvesham, envy, lobham, greed, agham, sinful activities, madam, vanity, apramatta, sane, udyata, laboring diligently, nityam, always, teji yamsam, her very powerful husband, atoshayat, she pleased. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Kindly repeat. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here are some of the qualities of a great husband's great wife. Kardama Muni is great by spiritual qualification. Such a husband is called Teji Yamsam, most powerful. Although a wife may be equal to her husband in advancement in spiritual consciousness, she should not be vainly proud. Sometimes it happens that the wife comes from a very rich family, as did Devahuti, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva Manu. She could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined. Devahuti was very careful about that, and therefore it is said here that she gave up pride completely. Devahuti was not unfaithful. The most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband or another lover. Chanakya Pandit has described 4 kinds of enemies at home. If the father is in debt, he is considered to be an enemy. If the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is considered to be an enemy. If a wife does not live well with her husband but deals very roughly, then she is an enemy. And if a son is a fool, he is also an enemy. In family life, father, mother, wife and children are assets. But if the wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then, according to Vedic civilization, she is considered an enemy. A chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is a greatly sinful act. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadeshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Until now we have seen the great qualities of Kardama Muni as well as Swayambhuva Manu. Both of them were great devotees and they had wonderful qualifications. They were steeped in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and their relationship with the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, Krishna. And Kardama Muni had the great fortune of having personally had an audience with Vishnu himself directly. So that way Kardama Muni and Swayambhuva Manu, both of them had conquered over the enemies in the heart. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya. These 6 enemies in the heart. And so they were already highly qualified. Now here the qualities, the qualification of Devahuti is also being described. She was not any less to her husband Kardama Muni. Although Kardama Muni, he was very learned in the scriptures and he was a rishi living in the forest. And Devahuti, all her life, she had been born in an emperor's house in the palace of Swayambhuva Manu. And she had grown up as a princess. But even she was highly decorated with wonderful qualities. The most important of those qualities, Visrijya Kamam Dambham Cha Dvesham Lobham Agham Madam. She gave up Kama, lust, Dambha, pride, unnecessary pride or vanity, Dvesham, envy, Lobham, greed, Agham, all kinds of sinful activities, Madam, again vanity, and in this manner, Apramattam, very soberly, Tejiyamsam Nityam Atoshayat. She pleased her husband by constant daily service to him. So what kind of husband? Tejiyamsam, very powerful. Powerful, not in terms of money, not in terms of material power. That way, Devahuti's father was far more powerful. He was the emperor. And what did Kardama Muni have? He was living in the forest in a small cottage. So that way, materially, he did not have anything with him. Her father was very, very powerful. Being the emperor, he had a big, he would have definitely had a big army and lot of ministers, servants, lot of wealth. So, economic power, military power, all these things were there with Swayambhuva Manu. But Kardama Muni did not have any of those things. He was a simple rishi living in a forest. He had no money, he had no servants, he had no army. So that way he was materially, he was destitute in one sense, if you look at it that way. But still, Tejiyamsam is very powerful. Why? Because he is spiritually very powerful, spiritually highly advanced, and therefore he had wonderful mystic opulences, which are far greater than any amount of material opulence, which we will come to know as we read further along this chapter. The power of Kardama Muni will be revealed. But even though so, that way, the wife, as it was described in the previous verse, she must serve her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of the senses, etc. So here it is classified. Here it is clarified that what is the qualification of the husband required? Husband has to be spiritually powerful, spiritually elevated, And so he has to be Tejiyamsam. Then that wife serving him has meaning. If the wife serves a husband very faithfully, who is only materially qualified, materially very powerful, materially very intelligent, materially very wealthy, then that is not going to bring her any spiritual benefit. Of course, it may give some punya karma, and next life that woman may be able to take birth as, again, as a human being, as a man. So that kind of material welfare may be there. But what is the use of again and again taking birth within this material world to again undergo the problems of old age, disease and death? The real benefit is to get out of this cycle of birth and death once and for all, for which the woman should have a great spiritually qualified man as her husband. Then it makes sense for her to serve him, and by that she will be able to go back to Godhead. So when Krishna, 5,000 years ago, when he was present on this planet, Krishna and Balaram were in Vrindavan. They were playing as simple cowherd boys. Once Krishna and Balaram took the cows and calves for grazing into the forest of Vrindavan. And while they were grazing, the friends of Krishna, the cowherd boyfriends, they all felt hungry. And they approached Krishna and Balaram and told them that we are very hungry, we are feeling very weak, we need some food immediately, how to get food. So Krishna told the Gopas that close by, little distance away, there are some Brahmanas who are conducting a fire sacrifice. So why don't you go and ask them? They will give you some prasadam, you get it and come and we'll all have it. So, and then Krishna told them, but if you tell my name to them, they may not give the prasadam. Why? Because I am just a cowherd, I am just a Vaishya. But Balaram is a Kshatriya, he is known as the son of Vasudeva. So if you tell Balaram's name, the Brahmanas will give something. All the Gopas immediately approached the fire sacrifice area where all the Brahmanas, they had not yet begun the fire sacrifice. They had completed some portion of the preliminary activities and they were yet to complete the whole fire sacrifice. All the Gopas approached the Brahmanas and told them that this 1, 2, 3 stages you already finished, so it is all right for us to partake of the prasadam, and close by Krishna and Balaram are there, can we have some prasadam for them? Although Krishna forbade them, the Gopas, from telling his name and told them you tell Balaram's name, still the Gopas, because they were so affectionate towards Krishna, they could not be without taking Krishna's name. So they said Krishna and Balaram both are there. The Brahmanas did not even look at them, did not even acknowledge that the Gopas have said something. They went out as if nobody was there. So the Gopas, they were slighted. They felt, what is this? We came and approached them. At least they could say no. They did not even say no. They did not even look at our face as if we did not exist. Now what to do? They became very despondent and came back to Krishna and told him, see, we went and told, like you said, but these people did not give any respect and we are feeling very bad that we told your name and they still disrespected. The Gopas were not disappointed because they were disrespected. They were disappointed because Krishna and Balarama's name they took and still the Brahmanas did not respect that. So now what to do? So then Krishna told them, okay, anyway, you are all very hungry. The wives of the Brahmanas are there, you go and ask them. Because women are normally, especially towards children, they are more considerate. They may give something, you go and ask them. So the Gopas went and again approached the Yajnaka Brahmana's wives. And they asked them that like this, Krishna and Balaram are close by and they are hungry and we wanted some food. Only that much they told. And all the wives of the Brahmanas, oh, Krishna and Balaram and cow have come. And Krishna is hungry. Oh, immediately take everything. They did not consider yajna. They have to sit for the yajna. Their husbands will call them nothing. They packed everything and walked off. And so all the Brahmanas, they said, hey, where are you all going? Because all these Brahmanas were all grihasthas. And for grihasthas, to conduct the fire sacrifice, the woman has to be present. The wife has to be present. Without the wife, the yajna is incomplete. So they all stopped. Hey, where are you all going? Yajna is still to be completed. We are just starting. How can you go like this? They said, no, Krishna has come. and they did not, they neglected their husbands and they walked away. So literally the Brahmana's wives, they rejected their husbands and they walked away. And they approached Krishna and Balaram, and they had packed and brought with them varieties of dishes. They laid it out before Krishna and Balaram and nicely fed them. And they were very happy when Krishna and Balaram partook of the food which was prepared by them. So the wives of the Brahmanas were so loving towards Krishna that they rejected their husbands. So after having all the prasadam, Krishna and Balaram told the wives of the Brahmanas that very nice, we are very happy, thank you very much and all that, now you can return. So the wives of the Brahmanas said, how can we go back now? We have rejected our husbands and come. They were calling us, they were telling us, stay back, you are to stay back for the yajna and all that. We threw them aside and we came away. Now if we go back, where they will accept us? We rejected them, they have rejected us, now no more going back. So we will be with you only. So Krishna then said, no, this is not right. You are all married women. You have to be with your husband. So go back to your houses and you keep meditating upon me, and like this you perfect your life. Continue your devotional service. And as far as your husbands are concerned, don't worry, they will not reject you, they will welcome you back. I assure you. Because Krishna is there as Paramatma in everyone's heart. So Krishna is there as Paramatma in the Brahmana's hearts also. He as Paramatma gave them, he inspired them, he gave them the intelligence that they should not reject their wives. So when the wives went back, the Brahmanas immediately welcomed them with great respect. They said, what we could not do, you have done. We could not understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has come. And he is the Yajnapati, he is the Yajneshwara. All the yajna that we are doing is meant for him. All the mantras we are chanting is meant for him. And he himself came and asked us for the bhoga, and we refused. So all our learning, all our mantra chanting, all our yajnas, they are all useless. But you women, simple women, you are taking care of only the houses. You are doing all household chores. You never studied the Vedas. You never did any yajnas by yourself. But still, you have developed such high, elevated love for Krishna that you rejected everything else and went and joined him. So like this, the Brahmanas glorified their wives and welcomed them back. So in this case, we can see how the Brahmanas' wives, although the Brahmanas were very dharmic, they were performing yajna and all those kind of things. They were not engaged in sinful activities. They were not adharmic. They were following all the varnashrama dharma properly. They were following the rules and regulations of the varna of being a Brahmana, of the ashrama of being a grihastha. They were all highly qualified. They had controlled their senses. They were not involved in accumulating wealth. They had not taken servitorship of anybody else. So they were proper Brahmanas that way, learned in the scriptures and all that. But still, because they neglected the order of Krishna, they became adharmic. Why? Because dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever Krishna says, whatever Krishna instructs, that becomes dharma. And Krishna had instructed that he wanted that food. So it was the dharma of the Brahmanas, whether the yajna was complete, incomplete, not started, whatever it is, to hand over the bhoga to Krishna, which they refused. And therefore, the wives rejected the Brahmanas. So we can see here how the a wife, if her husband is not devoted to Krishna, she, according to the example set forth by the father of Dharma, Krishna himself, is that if the husband is not following Krishna consciousness, then the wife has every right to reject him, to follow the path of Krishna consciousness, to follow the path of devotional service. So, when the Shastras are talking about the obedience of the wife to the husband and all that, it has to be understood that the husband has to be qualified to receive that obedience and service from the wife. How does he become qualified? Not by accumulating wealth, not by accumulating material knowledge, not by having big followers, not by having political power, but by becoming a devotee of Krishna. Then he becomes qualified to receive the obedience and the service, not only from a wife, from any subordinate, whether it is a disciple, whether it is a son, whether it is a daughter, wife, whoever it is. Whoever one's dependent is, one becomes qualified, one has the right to receive service and obedience from others only if one is a devotee of Krishna. Otherwise, one is only accumulating, one is consuming one's punya karma, and one is developing obligation to those from whom he is receiving service. And he will have to again and again take birth within this material world to repay that debt to whomever he has received service from, even if it is an animal. So in the Vedic civilization it is understood, even if from an animal I receive some service, then I have to be indebted to that animal, any living entity. So these are some of the finer points about the Vedic civilization. And because of being associated with such a great devotee of like Kardama Muni, Devahuti also developed qualities similar to his. And what were those qualifications? It is said here, Visrijya Kamam Dambham Dvesham Lobham Agham Madam. All these 6 enemies which are sitting within the heart, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya, lust, greed, envy, anger. So these 6 enemies which are seated within the heart, they are impossible for anyone within this material world to cross over, except for a person who has taken shelter of a pure devotee. So, so actually when we look at these 6 enemies which are seated in the heart, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya. So how to overcome them? First we have to understand the enemy if we have to defeat the enemy. In the beginning of the creation, when Brahmaji was creating this material manifestation according to the order and instructions of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he initially from his mind created many living entities. He created Asuras, he created Devatas, so many things he created. And it so happened that he also created a daughter. And the daughter was very beautiful. She was so exquisitely beautiful that when Brahma saw her, he developed lusty desires towards her. And he wanted to have physical union with her. And when he developed a desire like this, Brahma had already created the Saptarishis, the sages, Angira and all those Marichi and all those personalities. When they saw, and they also had their own children, and when these rishis, who are the direct sons of Brahmaji, born from Brahma's mind, they saw Brahma behaving like this, they approached Brahma and with great respect they submitted to him that this action of yours is not appropriate for your position and stature. When Brahma heard this, he felt ashamed and he gave up that mentality. Now, the sons of Brahma were very respectful and they, in a proper manner, they approached Brahma and submitted before him their observation that his conduct was not appropriate. So Brahmaji accepted that. At the same time, there were the Rishi Marichi, he had 6 sons. Now these 6 sons, they started criticizing Brahma. That, oh, look at Brahma, he did like this, he was running after his own daughter. And in a very poor way, they criticized Brahma. And because of which, they received a curse that they would have to take birth in the family of some Asura. And so like this, the 6 sons of Marichi, they took birth as the sons of Hiranyaksha. When Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they took birth, these 6 sons also took birth in their Asura Kula as the sons of Hiranyaksha. Now after taking birth as the sons of Hiranyaksha, they were a little sattvic. They were not so asuric, because after all in the previous life they were also sages. Now when they grew up, they went and approached Brahma. They started meditating upon Brahma. And they meditated upon Brahma and pleased him and got a benediction from him. And they asked for some material benedictions and Brahma blessed them. Now this information reached Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu, when he heard that Hiranyaksha's sons, they have gone and approached Brahma directly. Because Hiranyakashipu had already pleased Brahma and taken a benediction from Brahma. So he had become all powerful. So he had displaced all the devatas and he had taken up the position of all the devatas. Now, his own nephews, they rejected him. Instead of coming to him for their material benediction, they approached Brahma directly. Hiranyakashipu got wild. He got offended. He said, "Oh, you become so big that you will bypass me and go to Brahma directly. So I am cursing you that in your next life, you will be killed by your own father." So like this, he cursed them. So next life, these 6 sons were born as the sons of Devaki. And this Kamsa came and killed all of them. So actually, they were born as the grandsons of Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha's son was, what is that Asura? Who was killed by Vishnu? Kamsa, who, Kalanemi. So Kalanemi was the son of Hiranyakashipu, and Kalanemi's sons were the 6 sons, who were 6 rishis, 6 sons of Marichi. And so next birth, Kalanemi took birth as Kamsa, and these 6 sons took birth as the sons of Devaki, and Kalanemi himself killed all of Kalanemi as Kamsa killed all of them. So these 6 brothers, everywhere they would take birth by themselves. Of course, later Krishna brought them back upon Devaki's request and he liberated all of them. So that was Krishna's compassion upon them. But the point is that these 6 sons, who are 6 sons of Marichi, who were born as Asuras, when they were born as the sons of Kalanemi, their names were Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya. So these 6 enemies who are sitting in our heart, they are actually 6 brothers. And wherever they go, they will all go together only. They were born as the sons of Marichi, then they were born as the sons of Kalanemi, then they were born as the sons of Vasudeva and Devaki. So wherever they go, they always go together. So by this, what we have to understand is, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya are always working together in the heart. If we have to conquer one of them, normally we think we have to conquer over Kama, we have to conquer over Kama. But conquering over Kama alone is not possible. Because all the other 5 brothers, if they are there, the 6th brother will also be there. So that is how Kama leads to Krodha, Krodha leads to, it leads to one after the other. Krishna explains that whole thing in the Bhagavad-gita. So if we have to conquer over Kama, then we have to conquer over all the other 5 brothers also. Then only it will be possible. And such conquering, imagine 6 people you have to fight against simultaneously. Very difficult. It's not so easy. So if you have to conquer over these 6 brothers, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya, then the only way is to take shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna. Just like Devahuti took shelter of Kardama Muni, and thus she was also able to very easily, simply by being obedient and rendering simple menial service to Kardama Muni, she also conquered over Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha and Matsarya. Simply by serving the lotus feet of a pure devotee, we can conquer over these 6 enemies. Therefore, especially in Kali Yuga, when there is no training for the jivas how to lead their life in such a way so that the influence, at least the influence of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha and Matsarya can be reduced, when that training itself is not there, which was part of the Varnashrama system. The whole Varnashrama system, the creation of the categories of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, all these kind of divisions in society were created to give training for the people to reduce the influence of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya in life. That was the whole intention, that was the whole fulcrum around which the whole Varnashrama system was designed. But in Kali Yuga, we have forgotten that essential concept, that essential fundamental foundation of Varnashrama Dharma, and we have accepted only the externals. Somebody is born in a Brahmana's family, he will be less than a Shudra, still he will be called a Brahmana. Somebody is born in a Kshatriya family, he will be doing some business, and he is called a Kshatriya still. So that's become Kali Yuga. That's in Kali Yuga, that training itself is not there. So especially in Kali Yuga, when people don't have the training, how to reduce the influence of these 6 brothers within the heart, then the only way, the most powerful way, is to take shelter of a pure devotee. If he simply surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, follow his instructions and render service to his mission, whatever our talent, whatever our ability, whatever our knowledge is there, whatever our possessions are there, everything we surrender to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, undoubtedly, without fail, we'll be able to easily conquer over these 6 brothers. So these are some of the things which we can understand from this verse. If anybody has any questions or comments, we can discuss. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.